Are you happy with what you've seen so far in practice?
Yeah, I mean, I think the younger guys are learning. There's a lot to learn, and I think they're picking it up. I think not as quick as certainly you'd hope or wish, but they are picking it up, and I think the older guys are much better. They're understanding of what needs to get done. We just got to clean up a bunch of things.
Do you think that you're a bit ahead of the game now with the trip and the extra summer practices? And at what point do you think you're at now looking forward?
Yeah, I think we are ahead a little bit, but we've got so far to go. The things that we do are they're basketball, so you have to learn how to play basketball before you can be proficient at the way we like to play. It's because it's not sets, and it's not run here and then run over here and then go back over here. It's reading and reacting, and it just takes some time.
You talk about reading and reacting. Obviously, the defense was so strong last year. Now that teams are going to have the opportunity to take a look at some of that film and get to learn what it is you want to do, does that change how you approach things? Are there more things you're trying to learn on the defensive end to be able to roll with what the opponents are going to throw at you?
No, we've just got to get better at what we do. Our pursuit angles have got to improve. We've got to do a better job of avoiding contact. Sometimes there's a fine line between who initiates the contact, and I think it's probably going to go 90% of the time against the defense. And so we've got to do a better job of just staying away from people, still try to do the same things, but not have any body contact. But I think we can do that. It's going to, obviously it takes some time.
The rule change from the shot clock, 35 seconds to 30. Do you think that benefits your defense, giving opponents 5 fewer seconds to get the ball up in the air?
We're the ones trying to play faster, so I don't think it affects us much at all. I think it affects certainly late game situations, and teams trying to hold on to leads. You're not obviously there's going to be more possessions at the end of games because of that.
Your non-conference schedule obviously is pretty tough. What do you think about that as we get ready here? And the season obviously is a little ways away, but you're going to have some big opportunities for this team to prove itself on the non-conference slate this year. Your thoughts on that coming into the season?
Well, we've always done that. I think with this is the hardest league that I've ever coached in. I think it's the hardest league in America, and I think the non-conference RPI bears that out. I think the conference RPI bears that out, and so you got to win some games. I mean, everybody says you need to play those people. Well, you need to win. So we've got to win our share of those games. I think we play 9 games against people in the preseason top 10. When you talk about playing almost a third of your schedule against teams in the top 10 in the country, it's a pretty representative schedule.
Does it add anything to that non-conference schedule when you play so many teams from the state of Virginia, UVA, you've got Richmond on there potentially? There's a lot of regional rivals that you could claim in this non-conference schedule. Does that add anything to what we're going to see in the non-conference?
I don't think so. We're playing Richmond in Las Vegas. I doubt that there'll be many people from worried about the rivalry when we're playing in Las Vegas. The Virginia situation is an opportunity to play in Madison Square Garden and get back in the New York area. So we like that. I know our fans like that. And then from there it goes to a home series. So and they're really good. Tony's a great coach, and got great respect for him and what he does with his club. So, and then Buzz will get it going at Virginia Tech. I don't think anybody doubts that. So, it's obviously I'd rather play him here, but it kind of is what it is.
You mentioned that this is the toughest league Is it because of the double round robin? Is it the coaches you're facing, the players? What do you mean by that?
It's because there's no bad teams. You know, when 9 of your 10 teams at one point in time were ranked in the top 25 in the country, and what I think it ended up being 6 or 7 at the end, still ranked in the top 25 in the country. When you've got, what do we got, 5 teams ranked, I think, in the top 25 in preseason, and 3 teams in the top 10 in the country, how can it not be the best league in the country? And it doesn't have a bottom. You know, the Big East was a great league, you know, and 10 teams that could play with anybody in the country, and probably 6 that couldn't, you know. So you start, if you're one of those guys that looks at the schedule and says, well, we ought to win this one and this one and this one, there were 6 of them which said probably should win. I can't find them, you know, in this league. You look down, everybody's got good players and everybody's got great coaches. 60% of our league has coached in the Final Four. Think about that. It's never happened before in the history of college basketball. So I think there's good reason why a lot of people say it's the best league in the country, and why it's the best league I've ever coached in. I've been, you know, I think in some of the better leagues that there's ever been. And this is by far the best league I've ever been in.
Throw in on-campus venues in that too, not pro arenas. You're going on people's gyms.
Sure. I mean, in all honesty, there were places in the Big East that we had more fans than they did, you know, at their home game, and that certainly doesn't happen here. I think that there's more student involvement. When there's more student involvement, there's certainly more enthusiasm. There's more noise. There's more. It's just there's a lot more energy in the building than there is when there's a small student turnout.
You look at your team. It's one of the biggest questions you've got: who's going to have the ball in their hand at the end of games? Because Wani was money when he had it in his hands.
He's one of the best that I've ever had in late game situations, because you couldn't trap him, you couldn't take the ball from him, and you know, by and large he made free throws. So, and I've been blessed. I mean, when you start mentioning names like Van Exel and Logan and those kind of guys, Butler, you know, and I think he is without a question one of the best we've ever had. So yeah, those are big shoes to fill for whomever.
Could it be a matter of passing instead of dribbling to get it in the right people's hands in those situations?
I think you always try to spread them. You know, probably the shot that put the game away that Tariq hit was off of dribble penetration. I mean, it was a penetrating pitch. So, yeah, I mean, we want to pass it, but there's no 5-second count. So, you know, if you got somebody like Wani who they can't take the ball from, he can pretty much run the clock out by himself.